Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only, and for those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law, and in this channel I'd like to provide some stock analysis and also a short 5-minute trading lesson at the end, so please stay tuned. Okay, so let's start by having a little bit of a recap on the previous week's trading. I think we can all agree that it was a very difficult week of trading. The correction is still there. On a positive note, towards the end of the Friday, there was a little bit of a recovery towards the final power hour. A lot of the stocks did actually, surprisingly, end up in the green. So this is positive news. Going forward, I'm not sure if the correction is actually over yet. A lot will depend on positive news from the government this week regarding the stimulus and also the market reaction for that. From a personal point of view, this last week is the first time that I have had 5 continuous red days, so that's never happened before. So again, if you have experienced substantial losses, which I'm sure many people have, you are not the only one. Many people have. I think people who have been investing for a while probably in a bit more lucky position where they have had the opportunity to accumulate profits. So it's a case of some of your profits will have substantially been reduced. It's probably more difficult for new investors who probably started, let's say, trading early February in January. So for you guys, it may be a case of you could well be in the red. So that is a very difficult situation in terms of when I think those profits will be returned, or when those investments you're likely to get them back. Please refer to the previous video, and I did talk about that. So before moving on, I just want to share a little bit of a light-hearted image with you in terms of maybe how a lot of us have been feeling. Okay, so in this image, please excuse the language. What we're saying here is buy the dip, and then the person responds, yes I did. Then he's saying buy the dip again, and then he says I did buy the dip. So obviously we're seeing anger, we're seeing frustration, and then in the third part at the bottom we're saying there's another dip. And then obviously maybe how all of us are now feeling, we say, well, obviously we're now out of cash, what do we do? So it's a case of lots of frustrations. So let's just take example of Tesla. So Tesla just a few days ago was trading well in excess of $880. So a lot of people initially may have thought, oh, it's never going to go below 800. Yes, it did. Let's buy the dip. A lot of people may have thought it's never going to go below $600. It did. Let's buy the dip. And going right now up to the current situation, I think what we saw at one point and on a low, Tesla actually reached $546. So we are buying the dip. The dip keeps dipping. So I think that's a lot of how a lot of us are feeling now. And then in terms of positive news, we did see a little bit of a recovery there. So what I'm going to now do is share some shares before we look at the stock analysis today, which I think are still at bargain prices. Okay, so let's have a look at some shares which I think are still at bargain prices, even though we had a little bit of a power hour recovery near the end. In terms of Tesla, we've already looked at that. I think that Tesla is still a good buy price at $597. A lot of analysts have said they believe this to be going back to well in excess of $900 at the end of the year. So I do agree with that prediction, and I think that is certainly possible. So let's have a look at some of the others. So we've got these are other shares which I still think are in the buy zone. I think there's going to be a very positive recovery for Bitcoin going forward. That a lot of analysts have said that Bitcoin could hit $100,000 by the end of this year. Definitely possible. So in terms of Bitcoin stocks, where I think Mara is currently a good buy price. So that was down quite substantially at one point to $24, but again in the power hour it did make a recovery at $30. So still that's a good buy price. I think OCGN is a stock that I did a stock analysis on at $8.75. That is also an excellent buy price in terms of going forward. At one point, if you managed to pick this up at $7.53, that would have been really good buy price as well. So tick symbol OCGN, that finished up at $8.75. So it's still a good buy price for that stock as well in terms of going forward. So let's have a look at a few others. So another stock which I think is in an excellent buy price is ticker symbol BNGO. So if anybody managed to pick this up, again, similar pattern with this one. At one point this went down quite substantially, and if you pick this up at $5.68, you've got an absolute bargain. And it also finished in the green at just over 3% up at $7.15. So even at $7.15, I think this is an excellent stock going forward, and should give tremendous returns. We also have another good stock which is also a bargain, and it's also ready to enter the Nasdaq fairly imminently, and that is Alpine for Technologies, ticker symbol ALPP. So this was quite substantially down. It's currently trading at $3.96. It was just down in excess of 6% on the day, and we can also see again recovery near the end. And at one time this was trading in excess of $8.53. So we're looking at a 50% fall from that high. So again, good buying opportunity for Alpine for Technologies going forward. They are a business with lots and lots of potential. So let's have a look at a few more. Okay, so I think another stock which I think is an excellent stock going forward in terms of giving a good recovery, and that is ticker symbol ABML, American Battery Metals. This was at one point down for an absolute steal price of $1.56. Again, we saw significant recovery towards the power hour for this, and it closed at $1.87, which was just in excess of 8% down on the day. So what we can see here is, I believe that that is still an excellent price going forward in terms of ABML. At one point on a high, it was in excess of $4. So that also represents, similar to Alpine, a fall of 50%. And I do believe this year it will go well in excess of $4 going forward. So ticker symbol ABML, that's also a good buying price. Okay, so the next stock I think is at an excellent buy price still is ticker symbol Fcel, Fuel Cell Energy. This was down in excess of 17% on the day, so a similar pattern. At one point it was down at an absolute steal of $11.26. So if you manage to pick Fuel Cell up at $11.26, then going forward that will be an excellent stock. At one point on a high, this was did reach in close to $28, so $27.94. So if you pick this up at $11, then obviously that is a huge discount, and I do see this hitting $30 towards the end of the year. So again, absolute fantastic stock there in terms of going forward, and a good positive return fuel cell. Another stock which I think is going to be tremendous going forward, and also was at a very bargain price, is ticker symbol SENS, Sensionics. This is a stock that I have carried out stock analysis in detail for. I'm very bullish about this stock. I do hold this stock as well, and I'm planning to hold this for long term. There's a lot of good news coming up imminently for this stock, so we await the results of that. And again, for this particular stock, at one point this could have been picked up for $1.94, so that was an absolute steal as well. Again, good recovery towards the final power hour, and it closed initially from a low on the day of $1.94, closing at $2.48 on a high just a few weeks ago. This was well in excess of $5.20. So again, quite a significant fall down. The technology they have for continuous glucose monitoring is very positive. They are looking at European expansion, and the FDA approval is fairly imminent, I believe, for the product they have for the 180-day CGM monitor that they are using. So possible good news for this stock going forward. Again, at $2.48, this is also, I believe, in the good buy zone. Okay, the next stock I'd like to talk about is ticker symbol NEO. This is a stock that is very popular in the year 2020. This has probably had one of the highest traded volumes for any particular stock. Lots and lots of people are very bullish on this. Lots of people have been holding this as a significant percentage amount of their portfolio, and this has been hit quite hard. So on the day it was down 3%. So good news is there was recovery on the day again on the close of Friday, and this was closing at one point. Probably you should buy, can bite anyone's hand up to pick up NEO at $32.63. So that was an absolute steal as well. So if you managed to pick up NEO at $32.63, that's an absolute steal. So just a few weeks ago we did see it was trading in excess of $66, so that represents a 50% discount from the high just a few weeks ago. So going forward, a lot of analysts have predicted that NEO will reach $100 by the end of this year. I do also agree with that. The business fundamentals have not changed. The kind of earnings results which were just released were not as positive as people expected. There was also a shortage of the technology needed, but going forward the business is still strong. The European expansion plans are on, so this is definitely a solid business going forward. So at $38 again, it is a tremendous buy zone. This is also similar. It's one of the key, probably the second most closest competitor to Tesla, and going forward, this is a stock that I did have. I did actually sell this and cash out at $62 because I wanted to use the investment from NEO to invest in some of the other shares that I had. But this is something that I am going to keep an eye on. If I catch this again at $32, I will be looking to invest. However, even at $38 for a long-term play, I think this is also a good buy zone. Okay, I think another stock that I think has been very, very popular with lots of analysts and a lot of investors is ticker symbol APXT, Apex Technology. This is a stock that I also did have previously. I do not hold this anymore. I did cash this out earlier, and this is also a technology stock that has suffered significantly with the market correction. At one point it was kind of close to $17, and what we saw in the previous day of trading, at one point it was kind of just trading just over $10 at $10.58. It did make a good recovery towards the end in the power hour, and this is one of the few stocks that did finish in the green at $12.01. However, $12.01, this is still a steal for Apex Technology. They are still looking to merge with AVPoint. That merger is still confirmed, and going forward with that merger confirmed, this stock could certainly hit $20 by the end of the year. I'm fairly confident of that. So again, in a good buy zone. So if you manage to pick this up, certainly at $10.58, then that's also an absolute steal. Okay, I think I'm just going to bring you one more stock now to finish off, although there are many other stocks that I could talk about in terms of being at an excellent buy zone right now. But this is one stock which I think is also one that I think you should put on your radar. This is a stock that I have held previously, and I will be looking to reinvest in this stock, and that is ticker symbol GEVO. This is at one point achieved a price kind of in excess of $14, and again we did see this at one point on the previous day of trading close down at reach a price of $5.77. so an absolute steal if you manage to pick up GEVO at $5.77. Very good price going forward. It did recover very well, almost finishing in the green at $6.99. so even at $6.99, I think going forward this is a absolutely fantastic stock, and I do expect significant recovery and possibly going to reach $20 by the end of the year. So very good stock for the long term, ticker symbol GEVO. Okay, so due to an extended review of these stocks, I think what I'm going to do is complete the stock analysis for a stock that I did buy. It's a new stock. I'm going to share that with you in tomorrow's video. So before we finish off today, I just want to finish off on a little bit of a positive news. So I'm just going to share an article with you now. Okay, so I'd like to finish off now by looking at an article from CNBC dated March the 1st, and the headline here is not just Tesla. Tech analysts say electric vehicles stocks could soar 50% this year. So let's have a look at the key points. So First of all, we're saying that the electric vehicle industry is set to grow by $5 trillion over the next decade. So I think we can all agree the future is green, the future is electric, and in terms of EV sector, nothing to worry about in terms of this correction. Long term, the growth is still going to happen. So in 2020, the valuation of the EV market was $250 billion. In terms of growth for 2021, we're looking at a growth of a likely 40 to 50% this year. So that's a figure that I do agree with. I think it could go in excess of that as well. So in terms of the market correction, my opinion of that is I do not necessarily think the market correction is over. I think we are probably very, very close to the end of it. However, timing the market is not possible. Knowing the future is not possible. This is just an opinion, and nobody really knows. I mean, anything can happen. But in my opinion, I think most of the shares have kind of plateaued downwards to reach the final support at the bottom. Some of them have broken support, and I do not see significant movements going down more than they have already. So fingers crossed, we're going to now see a little bit of recovery and hopefully some more profits coming back. And due to an extended analysis of these stocks today, the next trading lesson will be in the next video, so please join me again. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.